happy to see this proceed, and we're going to make great progress. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Take a call on behalf of New Zealand First for the Financial Reporting Bill. And can I just say that also we commend the Minister, Honourable Craig Foss, for bringing this to the Parliament, the member for Tuki. And can I just say I also was there this evening with Lawrence Yule, his successor as the next member of Tuki, at the local government function this evening, and it was very nice to see the current Mayor of Hastings, who will be the next member of Tuki after Craig Foss there. And can I just say that in relation to that, and we'll get onto the Local Government Act later, but how the resounding comment from those in attendance was how gutted they were by the Local Government Act. But anyway, we're back onto the Financial Reporting Bill. And in this respect, can I just say that New Zealand First has said, and this was prior to the election, and we've always said, we will support good policy and we will oppose bad policy. In this case, we believe this is good policy. And it is good policy because it has some very beneficial effects for New Zealand commerce. It will assist with the financial reporting by our companies in terms of ensuring that there is more efficient reporting by the companies. That's a good thing. And it will also cut compliance costs. And we all, I think, in this chamber are in agreement that if compliance costs can be reduced and cut, it does help our commercial sector and it does help our corporates get on with their business. Importantly also, this bill ensures that smaller companies will not have to provide the same level of complexity of reporting of large companies. And that, again, is only fair because how often do we hear all around New Zealand, and the Honourable John Banks there as the Minister of Small Businesses, they used to be large businesses, but he became the minister, and they became small businesses as a result. But it is interesting that small business often comments that they spend so much time. Often owner-operators, husbands and wives, small businesses with limited management spend so much time on compliance costs that they actually can't get on with doing their business because they're having to fill out so many forms and so much to meet the bureaucratic requirements. So again, this is a good thing. What's that? Yeah, Banksy will fix that. I'm sure he will. But it is a good thing that this does help reduce the complexity of reporting of smaller companies. Another important part of this bill is that it simplifies the obligations for the likes of charities. And again, we have many very worthy and very good charities in New Zealand who again have incredibly complex requirements in terms of their reporting, and this does help simplify their obligations. However, what it also does, this bill, is it ensures that there is comparability between charities. And again, that's a good move because we are often, and we all get phoned at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night and asked to donate to this, that and every other charity. And often you're not too sure exactly what the charity is. Donations. No, not .com donations. Not Sky City donations. These are normal above board. These are donations over the telephone, not in a brown envelope. No, these are the normal. And And anyway, this will help ensure that New Zealanders also can see the printed reports of charities and can compare those charities in terms of what they are doing and how they compare charity to charity. So that's a good thing as well. However, Mr. Speaker, there are a few pitfalls. New Zealand First will support this through to Select Committee, and we will ensure that this gets the colour of day and that it is fully explored and fleshed out. But at the same time, these are tinkering things around the edges of government, and what we do want to see is not the government trying to hide behind smoke screens and mirrors and thinking that they are addressing things by just this tinkering with compliance costs and things like that. What we want to see this government doing is a lot more in terms of actually generating the economy, actually generating exports, actually getting our manufacturing sector moving again. And we're hearing time and time again, only yesterday, Carter Holt Harvey 50 or 80 jobs laid off in Rotorua, a panel plant in Rotorua making wood panels in Rotorua, the heart of woodland New Zealand, Rotorua, and they're laying off workers because there's not enough domestic demand for the panels in New Zealand for their products. There's not enough demand for their products. And, you know, that's a great shame. That's a great shame that in a place like Rotorua, we're laying off good workers and a wood panel plant because this economy is not growing by the same. And it would be growing, Mr. Speaker, if we were building more houses, and if the housing sector was growing, and if we were stimulating the economy with more jobs, more employment and more opportunities. But it's not happening. So as a result, what we're seeing is, we're seeing on one hand the government trying to reduce compliance costs to companies in this bill, trying to tinker around the edges and sort of soften them up, which is good, that's fine, and trying to help them. But what they're trying to help is basically an economy at the moment that is very, very, very flat. And we get tired in this House, Mr. Speaker, we get tired of hearing them always saying, oh, well, it could be worse, we could be Greece. Oh, we could be Spain, or we could be somewhere else. And isn't it poor that we always have to be compared to the extremely poor performing economies of Southern Europe, when what we should be aspiring to is comparing ourselves to Singapore, or to Norway, or to Taiwan, or to Korea, or economies that are actually doing well. But what this government tends to do is compare ourselves and think that we're doing well because we just happen to be a couple of notches above Greece or Italy or Spain. Well, that's not good enough. And tinkering around the edges and just trying to save a few compliance costs is not enough. So we hope, New Zealand First hopes, that this will go through to Select Committee. It will get fully explored. But in so doing, we hope that the submissions that come in from Commerce New Zealand on this not only focus on the reduction in compliance costs and some of the reduction in financial reporting requirements, but focus on how that can also reflect on growing the commercial sector in New Zealand, and how, for instance, the Honourable John Banks has always said he's been in business for many, many years. How can we get a lot more companies in New Zealand getting going? How can we create, as a result of the financial reporting bill, because this should be an easy country to get businesses started, this should be an easy country to get going, how can we encourage a lot more companies to get going and get behind them? And this reflects again on the Local Government Act, which we're going to be speaking on very shortly, is how can we also make sure that our local authorities, and the Honourable John Banks is the Mayor of Auckland, he knows, and I know as the former Mayor of North Shore, how important it is also for the second tier of government in New Zealand to also ensure that local companies, local businesses, local manufacturers, local employers of staff, local people who are providing work and paying their rates and paying their taxes are helping grow this economy. And we have a collective responsibility in this Parliament, all 121 of us, including the Honourable John Banks, as the former Mayor of Auckland. He did, but don't hold it all against him. Don't hold it against John Key was asking him to do it at the time. John Key asked him, as the Leader of Opposition in July 2008, to leverage his balance sheet and increase his thing. So he did that. He responded it. But what we need to remember, and just in closing, Mr. Speaker, we need to remember that we have a collective responsibility in this Parliament to grow the commerce and the pie in New Zealand. If the economic pie in New Zealand does not grow collectively, and if we don't create a bigger economic environment in this country, which in turn will pay more taxes, then all this tinkering around the compliance costs and the reduction in reporting is basically just moving the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Todd McClay.
Thank you. This legislation, the finance report,